every AI agent you use will tell you it's finished when it isn't. So you check it yourself, and you've now paid for the job twice. Once for the agent and once for your time spent confirming it. But there's a skill that fixes that. It's called unlazy. This is from Leon Lin, one of the most popular contributors in the AI space on GitHub. He made the taste skill, which has over 80,000 stars on GitHub. So how did I use this? About 40 minutes later, a whole game was created. 8 agents, 38 machine-checked gates, and 4% of my weekly usage. I never checked a line of it, and that's the part that matters here. So what does it do, and how can this affect your business? Before it writes anything, it creates the definition of finished. Every item gets a shell command, and the exact text the command has to print. A node script runs the commands and writes the result back. A box is only tick if the command exited 0 and printed the right thing. A ticked box with no evidence counts as unmet. The model never decides it's done, it just hands you the exit code. So the test, I gave it one line. Build an HTML game, a top-down shooter like Hotline Miami. 1 level end to end. 2 weapons, pixelised Miami Vice palette. The first thing it wrote was the contract, every module's API, and the exact files each agent was allowed to touch. Then it split the job into a tree. 14 ledgers, 38 gates, 8 fresh agents, 4 at a time, each with the contract, its own ledger, and its own file list. So 8 ownership claims, 0 collisions, because the ownership was set in stone prior. But I made 2 changes to this skill before I ran it, because out of the box it's slow enough to where you probably wouldn't want to use it. The driver loop is a numbered list. Step 2 says dispatch 1 leaf, step 4 says dispatch the next. Further down the same document, a section says leaves can run at the same time when they own different files, and the contract already guarantees that. An agent reading from top to bottom follows the numbered loop. Then the checker. It's essentially running everything in sequence, one after another. I'm sure you've experienced this type of work in Claude or Codex before. A rolling dispatch is typically used when you don't want collisions. That's the whole point, is that you're making sure one thing is done before you attack the next, so there's no overlap. The public version of this skill now has a jobs flag on it now. It is opt-in, however, and if you don't pass it, you will still get one at a time. So every leaf still gets verified by the driver when it comes back. Running multiple things at once simply saves time, and as long as there's no collisions, there's no problem. So the result. 40 minutes from contract to end game. Not one agent lied, all 8 came back. The driver reran their gates independently, and all 8 passed the first time. So let's look at the true results here. There's one thing I can tell you and one thing that I can't. What I can tell you is that it beat the control project in time, in quality, but not in tokens. When I did this in a separate project, yes, it took longer and it was more finicky, it had more glitches, but it cost a fair bit less. To piggyback off that, what I can't tell you is that it's lean. 5,400 lines of code for testing versus 3,300 lines of game. More test than product, which isn't necessarily a bad thing depending on the way you view it. So I played it and it worked great. I had a good time and faced no issues. The reference game I gave it was definitely an influence, and I can absolutely see that. So is this good for businesses? Is it worth it or not integrating this into your daily work? On money, be careful. When you're running multiple agents like this, the costs add up. And if you're not using the maximum plans on Codex or Claude, then it definitely could run up your usage quite quickly. On time, it made the build faster. It also made finding faster. 5 defects surfaced before I even opened the thing. Instead of 3 days later, me finding out these glitches, it surfaced them and it fixed them. So is it worth your time? The documentation says for anything under about half an hour's worth of work, it's probably not worth your time. And I would absolutely agree with this. So will I be using it? Yes, on big projects. Big projects, good, use it. Small project, no. Too expensive and not worth your time to set it up. So if you want to learn how to use this yourself, simply drop a comment and I will DM you an entire guide that you can just drop into your AI and it will make it happen. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.